All right, here's my super simple test setup. I have a bubble rope tied to a tree. I have a hydraulic cylinder with a known bore and a known rod and no volume, so I can calculate the pressure going to a pressure gauge. So simply what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run these tires right now. They're at 22 psi. I'm gonna pull on this. We'll see what the pressure is, and then we'll calculate that, and I'll put it, right about here or so on the psi conversion of how many pounds of force that pulls against that tree. And right now, like I said, 22 psi. I'll air them down to, for the test, about 8 psi. Only about this much of the tire is actually contacting the concrete. And speaking of the concrete is 130 degrees, tires 112, and we'll give it a pull and see what happens. It's about right now. We'll just set this truck at 1,000 RPM. We're in double low range, and we'll pull this thing and just let it see what she does. Let it pull for about 30 seconds, give or take. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So, hand throttle. We'll throw it in first. Let it crawl forward and double low. It's 117 to 1 crawl ratio. We'll see what this gets up to. 2-wheel drive also. So it looks to be about 1,600 psi. Slowly dropping a little bit. So there we are, crawling, double low. Still about 1,550 psi. Give it a little bit of throttle to see what she does, just to see a little bit of heat does to them. Also leaf spring, so it might try to hop. Let's see. We'll let that go. So it's still sitting here just putting rubber down, and we're still at 1,550 psi. No change. I figured it'd actually go up some, but a little bit of rubber there. Tires are spots 150 psi or 150 degrees, 163, 170 degrees on the actual top lug. We'll throw a bit of water in there, see what that does. We're at 1,550. See what water does on these DOT tires. Thoroughly soaked. Dropping to basically 1,300 psi. So we went from 1,550 to 1,300 psi, just getting the tires wet. So that's the test right now. Tires, of course, are cooled off. 130-ish psi or 130 degrees. So keep it sweet. We're slowly drying out and slowly getting up in pressure. All right, here we go at 1,000 RPM again. This time we're at 8 psi on the rear tires. First gear. Let's see where our pressure is. We're mostly dry where we're at. You can see the bigger contact patch. At 1725, it looks like we're just at 17. I get a little bit more throttle just to kind of get a little bit more heat in the tires. Actually, I lost traction with the tire heat. That's kind of surprising. See what the tire temperature is on the top of the lug. 160, 68. That's where we're at. You're basically at 1550 psi. So let me put a little bit of water there and see what happens. It's crazy. You can see the truck actually lurch back a little bit with that bungee rope whenever these tires get wet. So now we're at 1350 is what I can see. Kind of hard to see through the phone. Go ahead and stop the test. I'm gonna go ahead and put the stickies on. I gotta break down the tires, do all that stuff, good stuff. But I'll get back with y'all later on this and we'll see what the results are. I'll tell you what, for those that don't know, these J-flaters from Carl Jantz, they are the best. Basically, this is your external valve stem. There's no valve stem in there. You unthread it some, it unseats that O-ring, and you deflate really quick. For dual purpose rig like this on the trail and on the road, it's pretty nice. For those things about using airsoft BBs to balance, these are what 6-year-old airsofts look like. I got a little bit of rubber powder from rolling around in there, but these were on my pit bulls when I had them, and for 2 years, and then I had these for 4 years. So I'm gonna still use them again. All right, it's been a couple hours later. Had to mount the tires. You know how that is, grease the O-rings, all that stuff. Just did the front or the rears. The fronts are still as is. But anyways, yeah, it's shady. Yeah, the concrete's not as hot, but hey, these are stickies. Let's see what the DOTs have as far as the handicap. Same setup again, tied to a tree. When we put it at 1,000 RPM, I'm just gonna put it in first gear and I'm gonna let her rip. All right, and first gear. Last one was 1,500 pounds. Let's see. And these are brand new. 8 PSI on the tires like the other tires, like the DOTs. I mean, they still got the teats on, they still got the sticker on them. So yeah, they're brand new. They can full tread width contact. I mean, it's pulling just as hard as the DOTs. They're wrinkling. I did not expect that. I'm not sure what to say about this. Now, granted, everybody mentioned these are brand new, and of course, brand new stickies don't grab as good as used stickies, and you can see where the tire's actually been grabbing. So once these corners round off, I can imagine that's more surface area for these tires to bite. But we're gaining a little bit more. So like I said, they'll break in, but the good thing about all this testing is these are brand new. So I can always do the test again and compare them to how they are brand new. That way we know, well, for one, how much better are they comparatively with numbers to a DOT, and then second, how much better are they from a fresh tire to a broken tire. So as far as the temperature goes, a lot cooler. So there's also that. The other tires were all considerably hotter given how hot it was outside, and of course our pressure is going up. So I think a little bit of braking, and honestly I wouldn't doubt that a little of these teats right here are actually taking away some of the traction. But I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of gas. It doesn't hop. So now they're definitely warmed up. They're 211 degrees. And And interesting enough, they're pulling less than when they were cooled. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna back this up. I'm gonna go to a new spot without rubber and see what it does. That's a spot with rubber. Well, we'll go to a new spot, make sure in case this is actually, it's really tacky and it's really hot. So we'll go to a new spot and see how this does right over there. All right, move the truck over a little bit. We'll see what this does on a fresh spot. That's more like it. So, and what's funny is the 1000 PSI is not pulling as fast as it was. Actually, my RPM went down a little bit. That's just a little bit off idle. So I'm gonna go. Oh, look at that. 2000. So that is considerably more pulling. And it's interesting to note that when you put rubber down, you actually get less traction than if you do a clean spot. Of course, now we're coming down on traction. That is interesting. And you can see the torque there. I mean, it's wrinkling the tire really good compared to the DOTs were not. These are the same size tires, but one's a sticky and one's a DOT. Also, one's 4 years old and one's not. So we're starting to build up rubber. We're starting to lose traction, but hey, it's information, that's data. Tires are still 140 degrees, so these tires are brand new. They got teats on them. Possibly that this is making it lose some traction because there's teats on it. And you can see the rubber, the wear. So they're definitely biting really good. Definitely got some sticky rubber on there. Well, I mean, they're stickies, but yeah, there's actually pretty good rolled edge already on that. So, I mean, that's a good comparison. I'll get the numbers, put in a graph, an Excel sheet, whatever, let y'all guys look at it. But that's interesting to see. Like I said, these are brand new. I know they're not as good as used, but hey, when I have some miles on these and I go to some places and round off these corners, we'll test again and we'll see how everything is and how it compares. But for sure, heating up the tires in a fresh spot will get more traction than spinning tires in the same spot. I did not expect that. I figured the rubber on this would actually gain traction because you got rubber on rubber, but apparently that's not the case. You want to have a clean spot to have more traction. Just for fun, I'm gonna do it one more time, see if I can get to that clean spot. Still considerably more traction than DOTs. Remember, DOTs are on 1500, and it drifted to the rubber again. But still, no surprise there. More traction. I almost forgot. We had to do the water test. So in a different spot. We'll see what we get to. Go ahead and get a little bit more RPM, and she's just at 650. So yeah, about 1900 right there. Before I get too much rubber buildup, let's see what we got. Still pulling as hard, actually harder than the DOTs. So those guys that say that having stickies pull just as hard wet as DOTs dry, I will say you guys are correct. And on top of that, it's on the old rubber spot too, if that says anything. I'll go ahead, I can move it to another spot, we'll see. But again, I think we've proven our points here. The old drive line is doing its thing, I guess. Definitely working those U-joints, I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah, we're consistently 1600 psi. Go ahead, I'm gonna put it to a different spot and we'll see what happens. So interestingly enough, that water actually cleaned the rubber. It cleaned the rubber completely off, so I did not expect that at all. Let me go ahead, I'm gonna try leave that running. I'm gonna try a different spot. See if I can get a different spot. So we're actually at 1300 RPMs. Yeah, even wet, it's consistently better. Consistently better than the DOTs. No surprise there. All right, I hope you guys found that interesting. I definitely did not expect some of those results, but these stickies are still going to get street driven. It is what it is. It's just money. Got to enjoy the truck, you know. Why not? But at the same time, they're definitely going to get used like my other ones. So we'll all right, I guess that concludes stage 1 of testing with brand new tires. We'll check back in, I don't know how long, in a while. Whenever these start breaking in, I'll keep you guys updated, see if there's actually a noticeable difference in performance as far as on concrete. Now granted, this is on concrete, so there's really nothing for those tires to grab and to roll over. I've gone down as low as 3 psi on these, and it does make no difference whatsoever on as far as grip on concrete. But this is smooth, featureless concrete. It's not the trail, completely different. But what I have noticed was, even though these are brand new, these are wrinkling way more than the DOTs. The same ply, same everything. The only thing I can think of is just either, well, one, there's more torque, and then second being sticky compound lets the sidewalls fold in easier. So I might have to change my air pressure. Instead of running 6 pounds in the rear, I might have to try 7 or so just to keep the sidewalls from folding in a weird area. But I'll do the math. I'll put this on the spreadsheet and let you guys look at the numbers yourself for those that are interested. No surprise here though, stickies are better, but you know, we'll and they're nice and soft too. But it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tear the fronts off and get these done. And like I said, this review was not really much of a to try to get somebody to buy SX. These were just literally an apples to apples comparison. SX stickies versus DOTs. How much more force are you really getting out of them? I mean, I don't know, it's just a fun test. I had nothing else better to do. And let me know what y'all think.